Okay, take two, take two. Do I have sound now? I'm going to wait a second and see if some folks will come in before I start getting too involved and see if you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I just wanted to come on for a little while and cut out some dresses. And I'm hoping someone will pop on and say whether they can hear me or not. Give it a second for it to feed through everything. You can hear me now. Woohoo! All right. So good morning, Teresa. Hopefully Pam will find me here in a minute. I have layered up the two fabrics I want to work together. So I've got this kind of a turquoisey blue, and then I got a ladybug fabric on the other side. Right sides together. Angie, good morning. So I've layered them together. I've paid attention to the print on the ladybug fabric because it doesn't look directional, but it really is. So I looked for the ladybugs that were walking right side up so that some of them will look like they're going around her, but there won't be any that look upside down. So the first section I'm going to lay out because I've had to fold this really wide piece of blue-green fabric. A little odd. Let me close this curtain and see if I can get a truer color. Give it a minute to adjust. Not really. I'm going to cut out 1/2. I don't like to do this because what if I don't have enough for the other side? But I'm looking at it and it's looking like I can do it. It's just going to take some shifting of the fabrics to make sure the ladybugs remain in the right direction. So I'm going to pin this down, and I'm on my cutting table, which I can use for the little girls. But when I'm doing a bigger dress, like an adult dress, I have to get down on the floor. So I'm pinning through all 4 layers, and I like to pin along the fold. This is the fold because the center front doesn't have a seam. So I have to pin this down the center just to make sure it's laying. Oops, sorry, hedgie. Throwing the hedgehog around. I don't know why I can't find the video on my channel of us making this hedgehog pin cushion, but it has a link to the pattern that I found on Pinterest. And I smooth this out. And all I'm going to do is cut dresses out for a little bit here. So I need to cut out 5 reversible dresses and then 1 that is not going to be reversible. I only have labels to make basically 11 more dresses, but when I'm doing a reversible, I put a label on each pocket, each side, on each dress. So one for the inside dress and one for the outside, because you have to put the Project Dress a Girl labels on them. So this is what I do. One day I'll just stand and cut out all the dresses. And then depending on the day, if my back isn't too sore, I might start sewing on them. But generally I have a day that's nothing but cutting out. And then I'll have days of where I'm sewing them. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And I do, when I get to the little indicators, I do cut them so they're like little mountains because it's easier to see than clipping into the seam area. Let's cut in from this way, maybe. Move my mouse a little bit. And these little pieces are going in a bag that is just tiny scraps, which I think is this bag. And then I've got a bag for larger scraps that I'll cut 3-inch squares out of. And I know Kelly has put in a request for some scraps. So I'm thinking of doing up some scrap boxes. Hopefully I can pull this off and get all that I need for this little dress. But when you have a simple dress like this, it's so easy to make it a reversible one. And I have not tried, Anne Marie Makes put a link up for a free pattern. And I have not tried to make that one yet because I can make these so much faster. And I like the more sturdy necklines. And like I said, I'm not going to be on long. All right, I love my Ginger scissors. So that's my two fronts cut out, ready to go. And I'm doing size 8s, so they're kind of for the big girls. All right, now this one here is the back. And you'll note that it has a grain line on here. And so this is not going to go on the fold. I have to get my fabric set up. And then we will measure from the fold in the fabric to this line at one end and then at the other to make sure it's straight on grain. So let me fiddle with my fabric real quick because I'm having to do a little bit of maneuvering to get the ladybugs all in the right direction. And I can take and I can cut this top free layered and get it out of our way. That'll go into the bag of bigger stuff that I'll cut some squares out of. I'm hoping this will work. I'm going to turn my ladybug fabric the other way this time. That's the pockets. We got to cut the pockets as well. I want to get this nice and smoothed out. Now my fold is on this edge at the top. Up here is the fold now. All right. Because that pattern piece I have to put facing that way. And if you look, there's a ladybug right here and here that denote that this is a directional fabric. And I don't want her walking upside down. So the top of the dress has to be up there. So what we need to do is we've got this odd shaped piece of fabric now. Golly, I hope I have enough. Because that would be very disappointing if I don't. I want to make sure it's straight on grain. And what I do is I just hold my edges until it looks like a perfect loop. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough. What I really need to line up is the fold. We'll see. I'm going to line these folds up. Line that up there. And this up here. Get it nice and smooth. All right. There we go. So let's get our pattern piece over here. And I'll show you how to get it so it's straight on grain. That's what the little line means on here, okay? So get it so that your skirt fits all the way on. And I think I've got fabric under everything. Let me make sure I do. Thank goodness. All right, what I do is I kind of eyeball it, and I put a pin in at one of the ends of the arrow, like so. And then I take my measuring tape, and I measure from my fold over here to there, and it's 16.5 inches. And then you go up to the other end of that grain line arrow, and you get on the fold, and you can see I'm off. So I just move the pattern piece until they line up. And I put a pin in this end. So now I know that the little piece is on the straight of grain. And then I smooth it out and pin it down. If you don't have it straight on grain, what'll happen is as the child is wearing it, it'll kind of twist around their body. Like if you ever get a pair of pants at the store, the pants are the hardest thing to sew in my book. But if you buy a pair of pants and you notice as you're walking, it feels like the pants leg is twisting around your leg, that's because it was not cut straight on grain. Good morning, Roy. I hope everybody is doing good. We had in a little bit here, I've got to call the garage and find out if we can. I need to have the car towed over there because our car would not start this morning. Scott said he thinks it's the timing belt is either broke or come off. We recently had in the shop having a little over $1,200 worth of repairs done on it. All of the undercarriage seals redone for the most part. And so they had a lot of stuff disconnected. I don't know if that affected that or not, but I'm going to call our buddy up there at the garage and talk with him. Super, super great guy. And he wants you to leave happy. So luckily there was some gas in the truck. We don't usually leave a bunch of gas in our truck to just sit in the driveway. You know, we fill it up if we need to go to Lowe's. But we had put like $20 in it. So Scott took the truck this morning. I had planned to do a little grocery trip, but that's okay. And there are some little, places that I need to mark on here, but I wait and do all that marking when I get ready to sew. I'll just lay the pattern pieces back on. I'm going to cut all size 8s today. So this piece is ready to be cut out. So I'm going to cut this out real quick, and then we'll get 2 more fabrics. That'll be 1 down, 4 to go, as far as the dresses, the reversible dresses. And then I'll need some fabric that's pretty sturdy to just do up a dress, a single dress. What I was saying, I'm going to do up some little packages if anybody wants scraps. I'm going to do, can I get any? No. Scrap boxes of just pieces of scrap fabric, because I know there's a lot of people that would like to get into slow stitching, and I'm going to have a ton of scraps from this project. So if you're interested in that, I'm thinking just small flat rate boxes because I have a bunch of them. And I would just pack it full for whatever the postage is for a flat rate box. And, you know, you would pay the postage. If that's interesting to anybody. Janice Johnson said she wants one in her size. She said, real big girl. Real big girl size. I don't think it comes in husky or chubbies, Roy. Remember back in the day, anybody with a little weight on them as a child was called husky for a boy and chubby for a girl. I remember that in the Montgomery Ward's catalog. I always hated that. And they would be, like you said, half sizes. We all go through phases of chunkiness in our lifetime. And sometimes it just doesn't want to go away. All right, let's see. This is one odd piece here to try to fold. So we'll just rip it in half. This one might be enough that I could get some facings out of it. So I'll probably hold on to these pieces. Oh, for at least until I'm done. And then if I don't use it for facings, I can put it in to be chopped into squares. This has got a lot of useful buggies still on it. This one these two I might can cut out some bigger squares for quilting and be worth my time holding on to. All right, so there's that little bit. I'll put that in that bag. Now I need to cut this armhole out. Really, the only thing I need to mark, since this is not going to have a facing put in it, it's going to be reversible. All I need to mark is pocket placement. Oh, you know what I need to cut out of that fabric I just threw down? I need the pockets. Y'all need to say, pockets. You need to cut the pockets. So we'll pull that back out and cut some pockets. Right, that'll go in the itty bitty bag. Okay, I'll unpin this here in just a sec. All right. So I've got this piece, and then I need some of the blue back. I'm going to kind of line them up. So I need to cut this out how many times? Twice, right? Because I've got 2 of that and 2 of this. That'll make one side of the pocket, and this will make the other side of the pocket. So here we go. Oh, Teresa, thank you. Oh, really? In the basement? I'm sorry, little chubby boy. You have to go to the basement. That's bad. Good morning, Mary. This just doesn't feel. Now, this one's got a grain line. So you need to let that run up and down. And let me make sure my ladybugs. Which way is the ladybug going? You need to turn this pocket so this is kind of toward the other direction, I think. Really doesn't matter on the pockets because the ladybugs can go any which way. But I do need to cut this out twice. So I have pockets for both sides. So normally I would measure this, but I'm going to eyeball it this time. It's just the pocket. This is the original pattern piece, and it's getting kind of fragile where I normally pin, so I'm trying to pin in different places. Alrighty, get down in here. So I will announce on my community tab or in my group when I have the little scrap boxes ready to go. So if you're interested in it, whatever the cost of a small flat rate box is, I don't have a clue right now. I haven't looked it up, but I'll be willing to mail you some scraps if you pay the postage. I can't pay the postage on a whole bunch of the little boxes, but I can put them together for you if you want to pay the postage. Put it that way. And that way you'd have all kinds of cool looking scrappies to play with. And we're going to do a scrappy project next month, or maybe several. I'd like to use up a bunch of scraps. All right. And then we'll just put this on here again. Ladybugs. At the ladybug picnic. I'm going to do something real quick before I set these aside. I'm going to pull the pattern pieces because we're going to cut out another dress. I want to get off here by 8, so I'm not going to be on here much longer. I just wanted to kind of show you my process for cutting the dresses out. I need to go shop my stash. I'm certain I have some more larger pieces of cotton I could pair up with the zebra fabric and the seed fabric. The plaid I had to go with the seed pack fabric, it wasn't enough for the big girl dress. So right. That'll go in there. And then to remind myself so I don't jump too far ahead, I'm going to pin the label because I like to sew the label on the pocket before I put the pocket together. So one set of pockets will have the ladybugs to the outside. So I take one of these labels and I sew it on. I got too many out. I need 2 of these. And I usually put it, so it's not interfering with the design too much. And I'm just going to pin that on to remind myself to stitch that on before I do around the heart and flip it right side out. So that's a set of pockets there. And then on this one, I'll just put it on this side because these pockets will be on the outside part with the ladybugs. My mother-in-law was fussing at me, the pockets need to match. And I was like, the pockets need to be very visible for this project is why they're like that. We don't want matchy-matchy. Oh, dear. All right, let me unpin the front and the back because we got to have these pattern pieces again. And see, I'll come back and I'll mark this large dot because that's where you normally sew to. But I'm not going to mark it right now. Oh, let's see. So we need to set this aside. That's the back. I'll unpin this real quick. I think the next fabric I have laying over that chair is not enough to do a size 8. We'll see what's next underneath there. So yeah, we had a horrible start to this week, but it'll all be fine. We'll get the car fixed again. Just gets a little old, but I just don't want a $700 a month car payment. I just don't. For one, we don't have that kind of money. All right, so that's one dress cut, ready to go. I'll lay it there. Let me grab some more fabric. Oh, we might have enough of this one. This is the poppies. Let's see here. Sorry. Oh my goodness. All right, this is the red poppies. I'll show you what it looks like. Woo! And see, I've already ironed all of this. So all I have to do is layer it up, put my measuring tape back around my neck. And when I'm looking at this, I don't think there's a real definite, I don't think there's a directional print, but I want to verify really quick. I don't know. I think it actually does because this right here all points that way. So the top of the dress all has to go toward you guys. So I may have to shift fabric again. And this is the fabric I was going to pair with it here. And so this is an awesome red. And I do know that this one did have a direction as well, because the fronds need to go up. So I'll just layer these two together. And I want to line up my fold. Get that fold lined up. I might actually get some sewn today if I keep cutting while I'm watching Dee Dee and Janet. All right, lift this end up a little bit. I think I have enough. I can actually do this little dress. All right, my problem is the layers are not wanting to lay together. So I'm going to pick it up and get them to lay together nicely. Come on, guys. Behave yourselves. Come on. Come here. And for anybody that's also a quilter, I mean, I do do quilt blocks and things. I have yet to turn a full, well, no, I've done baby quilts that I've reached completion on, but they've all been given away, the baby quilts. But the reason I'm saying that is Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. She has a Facebook group, and it's like their room is constantly there and available. The reason I don't do that is I learned that anytime anyone wants to join it, whoever set the room up to have it available, they will get called to open the room. Once the room has somebody in it, it doesn't ring anymore to the organizer. People can just come in once somebody's in there. But if the room is just sitting there waiting, the first person in will wake up whoever set the room up. So Scott told me that's not a good idea because we got to get up so early. So there. Okay, so both fabrics are facing that way. So I'm going to cut my front out first, which is cut on the fold. When you look at these patterns, have been traced off the original tissue so that I could keep the original and then just wear this out. And whenever you see a little icon like that, it means to put it on a fold. So I'm going to line this up and pin it just like we did the other one. I just want to make sure I've got a layer under here. But yeah, if you're a quilter and you want to get together with some other quilters just on a random basis, it looks like they get together and stitch together in their Facebook group. It's Brenda at Conquering Mount Scrapmore. She's in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And that's another reason I thought about clicking in there and just seeing, what those ladies were up, but nobody was in there. And if I'd entered, it would have woke Brenda up. And I don't want to do that this early. For her, it's really early. Okay, my edge is on the fold, and now I can smooth all this out. And before I move on, I'm going to pin the heart up here. And because this is such a cool design, I could put this like in the middle of the heart. Like that. Oh, that'd be cool. The beauty of this cutting table is I don't have to get down on the floor. Usually this is covered with a bunch of stuff, but today I cleared it and I said I'm going to use it today. But it doesn't really work for adult dresses or larger girl dresses because it's not long enough or wide enough sometimes. Yes, Brenda at Conquering Mount Scrapmore. She's a really neat lady. I'm going to go ahead and check the grain since I'm not all pulled apart. 9 7/8. 9 7/8. I eyeballed that pretty good. Okay. I didn't know if you'd be interested in watching me cut stuff out or not. But I said, well, I can do that real quick and show people how I cut out, multiple dresses for doing reversible dresses. Any pattern that has a front on fold and then the back has a seam down the back makes it super easy to turn it into a reversible dress. So easy to do. I don't know how this will look with the poppies on the outside, so I might make this reversible a very matchy and put the pockets so they match the fabric. I really like the quirkiness of doing this on that, but I think the reds are so different, they fight like cats and dogs. All right, so I need another one of these hearts, set of hearts, because you need a pocket and a lining for each side. And I need to pull out 2 more of the labels. I ordered 50 of these last year, and then last year I was so sick with that virus that I didn't get to use them. So I'm trying to use them up this year. So that could be cute. Put the label up here. And I'll pin that on. So there's a set of pockets. And now we need to do a set over here. And we can do it again. Like so. Maybe come down a little bit. And then I'll check my straight of grain and see how close I am. So from this end of the arrow to the outside is 14 1/8 and 14 1/8. I eyeball pretty good. We'll say I'm doing this one in honor of my mother-in-law. So she'll have some matchy dresses to be proud of. She said, "Why are you making them all so scrappy looking?" She's of the very matchy generation. Everything has to matchy. It's like a quilt has to have the whole thing looks matchy. I'm a scrap girl. I like scrappy quilts, scrappy things. I just like scrappiness. But there are a lot of people that everything has to matchy. All the towels in the bathroom have to be the same. And I'm of, does it get me dry? Okay. And so we'll put this in to be trimmed. Probably mixing these up again. I have one for smaller than 3-inch pieces. Like I couldn't get a 3-inch square out of that. So it goes in the smaller pieces. And then the ones that are a little bit bigger, I'm setting aside where I can cut 3-inch pieces. I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. And this one, we need to put the label on the poppy seed. Poppies. Poppy seed? The poppies side. Ate breakfast. I don't know why I've got the shakes today. It's crazy. Anyway, ow! The first thing I do is sew all the labels on with pink thread to match the label. That's why I'm setting those aside like that. All right, so now I'm pretty sure I've got enough to put this dress on there. And what I'll do is I'll just put it face down so that I can get the direction right. I'll show you what I mean here in just a sec. I'll look at chat here in just a sec if there's anybody with questions. Oh, I had another label out. I'll put that back in there. Oh, you guys, I want to mention something also. I just noticed on Facebook that our Montana Lori is missing her mom really, really bad. So if you could just, if you're on Facebook and you're friends with Lori, send her a little message. Let her know you're thinking about her. Hello, Peter. How are you? If you guys aren't subscribed to Peter, you need to go check it out because he does some amazing videos of nature and islands, and they're gorgeous. I really enjoy watching them. I find them so calming and peaceful. All right, I want to talk to you guys about how do you match patterns. And there are several ways that you can match a pattern. And as far as the pattern in the fabric, you know, the design, you can, and this is what I do because it's easy. This is the side seam right here. So if you look at this little indicator right here, it lines up with the indicator on the back of the dress. So what you can do is you can just kind of see what that design looks like. And there's like this little grouping of leaves right there. You could line this back pattern up, find these little leaves and line them up. That's how I do it. And I get pretty close. And now these are for Project Dress a Girl. I have made 14 dresses so far, 3 of which are reversible dresses. So it's basically 2 dresses in one. And I'm trying to use up my labels. So I need to make 5 more reversible dresses and 1 that's not. And I've done some videos on the dresses I've made so far. And these dresses go to educate young women, young girls, and their families on the dangers of human trafficking. So I find it a very worthwhile project, and I want to help as many young women as I can and keeping them safe, which is it's my goal for this, doing this project with Maddie at Maddie Sews. She's the one that got all of the YouTubers together doing this. All right, so if I have my pattern piece, oh, let's turn it this way. There we go. Remember what I said about the little grouping of leaves? They're little tiny leaves, like right here. I can see they're right here. So that's not going to help me because that's the middle seam. And I need my grain line to be straight. So it doesn't look like the dress should go that way, does it? Because if you think about it, you're looking at it like this. But that's not straight a grain. You want the grain of the fabric to run along this arrow line. So here's my little side indicator. And I just look and see if there's a way I can get some of those little leaves near it, like right there. See that little grouping of leaves is right here. And if you can kind of match that up about where it is on here, when you put them together, it'll look like the design sort of continues around to the back of the dress. So that's pretty good right there. So let me see if I can get my straighter grain. And this will probably be the last dress because it's already after 8. I've already cut the pockets out. So I kind of want to make sure, I got to make sure the whole skirt is on there too. Let's get this straightened up here. I don't think I'm straight. I'm going to pin the bottom of it this time. Put a pin at the bottom of it. And I was going to say, where's my measuring tape? And it's around my neck. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to measure over to the fold. It is about 16 1/4. Do it again. Yeah, 16 1/4. Oh, this needs to come back this way. So you can't really eyeball this. Now I've gone too far. That's about right there. So I'll pin this end of the arrow. And now I've got the white leaves kind of up here in the area where the white leaves need to match. We'll see how close I get. I'm not worried about the poppies matching because that is one busy print. I know a lot of people left me comments on the video where I shared the fabric that I was going to be cutting out. And they said, oh, I can't wait to see that red. So here's the red one. It's going to be a size 8, which is a 7 to a 9-year-old. Ish. So that's how I cut these dresses out, you guys. Like I said, I didn't know if anybody'd be interested in seeing how I cut these out and what I do when it comes time to sew. I'll quickly come back and I'll put this dot on there. I have dressmaker's chalk and I just go where that dot is. So I know that's where you have to stop sewing. The indicating dots are there to help you line up. Like if these had sleeves, it would have a dot somewhere about here where you would line those dots up on the sleeve to the dot up here. And usually between the dots on the shoulder area, you would gather to fit it in, unless it's a straight, smooth fitting sleeve that kind of goes in on the flat. It's all about in the design of whatever the dress is or the pattern. So I'm going to keep doing this for, what do I need? 3 more dresses that are reversible. Ooh, the butterfly dress is the next one to get cut out. And if I do them all in a size 8, I'll be done quickly. All right. It's a 100% cotton. That's one of the requirements for the program. It has to be 100% cotton because anything else really won't hold up to being like washed in a river or, and they don't want stretchy fabrics, no sheer fabrics. So if your fabric is sheer, you have to line the dress. When you're doing a reversible dress, you don't have to worry so much about that because it's double layer. And I hope you guys are hearing me because I got a message from Teresa saying no sound. Are you guys hearing me now? I think it's a wonderful program. That's why I've participated with it for 3 years now. This is my 3rd year. I'm thinking about switching to a different program. I'm trying to use my labels up that I spent the money on. I think it was $15 for 50 labels. So no, all this extra fabric won't go to waste either. I cut it into squares. Thank you, Mary. I cut it into squares to use as quilts, to do quilt stuff. Yeah, and it dries quicker than some fabrics, and it's breathable. So a lot of these dresses go to really hot climates like Africa areas. I don't remember exactly the country that. If you go to the Project Dress a Girl website, they have a video on YouTube where they show the little girls, some of the little girls receiving their dresses, not necessarily my dresses, but dresses from the program. And Madi organizes this each year, and I do not have a local organizer, So I mail them up to Maryland, to Maddie, and she turns them in with the organizer that's in her area. And last year she turned over 3,000 dresses. And the first year Maddie did this, she thought, oh, I'll get 100. If I can get 100 dresses, that would be so helpful. And even in the first year, it was over 1,000 dresses were donated. And I did 15 the first year, 4 last year, simply because, oh my word, I had that virus from Hades. I was so sick. If y'all remember, I had that wicked sore throat. Scott said he thinks it was COVID, but I don't know. I'm trying to get that little bit out of there. Okay. There's probably enough here that I could make something with this. I'll go back through the stuff I've set aside and pull out the stuff that's really bigger pieces that could be like little gift bags or something. So this one's almost cut out. And that's how I do it. And then I'll group the ones that I can use the same thread with. This is what I was saying before I got sidetracked. Ones that I can use the same thread with, I'll do at the same time. And then I can just feed them through the machine one after the other. So like when I'm doing all of the pockets, when I'm sewing the labels on, I'll do that first and use pink thread. And then I'll switch the thread to whatever color. Like this has red in it. So I'll get the red that's closest to the 2 reds. And I can probably use the red on the butterfly dress as well, because they're so close. It's not like the little girls are going to look and say, oh, she used such and such thread. Oh, and another key, if you guys ever don't have any thread except maybe a silvery gray, you can use silvery gray on any color fabric, and it kind of picks up whatever the fabric is. So if you wanted to save yourself a lot of money and not buy a bunch of different colors, just get gray. And like if you're painting a room and you've got a color that's really hard to cover, if you take and you paint it with silver or gray first, then you can go in with your color and it'll cover it. And I didn't do very good at cutting this. Let's see if I can clean that up. There we go. All right. I'll show you the fabric for the next dress, and then I'm going to sign off. I need to call the garage and let them know that the car is dead again. And then I'll need to call AAA to come pick it up and take it over there. I don't want to have it towed over there if Drew doesn't have time to get to it. All right. Let's set this over here. So this little reversible dress, I'll turn it right side out and you guys can see what these will all look like. Maybe. This is the back of the dress. I'll show you these, all of these, what the 2 sides will look like. Now, these dresses go all over the world. Wherever there is a need, where some little girl has lost everything or doesn't have it, that's where these dresses end up. Some might even stay in the United States. Some of the dresses make it into the at Christmas, the shoebox program. Sometimes these dresses are in there, so you don't know where your dress will end up. And that's fine with me. I just want it to go to someone that can really use it. All right, so here's a dress, and then the other side will be this here. So this one will be my matchy dress. So the pockets on this one will be matching pockets. But on the original one I cut out today, I'm going to try not to turn the back. All I need is the fronts turned. So like that's the back there. So that'll be one side of the dress. Oh no. Sorry. And this will be the other side of the dress. And this side will get the plain pocket, and the blue side will get the ladybug pockets like that. So that's those. And then the next dress that I'll cut out after I sign off with you guys is going to be, just so you have a peek into what comes next. So be this butterfly. And then the other side will be this. So this will be the two that go together for the next dress. And I am so excited that these are cutting out so quickly. So I'm going to get back to it, and I'm going to let you guys go because Dee Dee will be coming on in just a few minutes. All right. So thank you for stopping by and seeing my process. And I hope everybody has a great day. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.